need paint. I need paint. I need paint. This is my take on it, and this could be absolute bollocks, but this is how I feel about it, right? This is what I think, because I've seen the response to Zereth Mortis now as well. All right, what we need... Yeah, NFT incoming. Okay, what we need is... This is going to be glorious. We need... This is going to be perfection. I can't wait till Echo gives me an illustrator to use. Okay, this is our cake. It has lovely frosting on top of it, and it also has some cherries. This is our beautiful cake. It's a variation on the Victoria sponge. We could even put in, if we really want to, some jam to go with it. There's the jam. Beautiful. There's the jam. All right, this is your MMO cake. All right, this is your MMO cake. This is what it is. This is your MMO cake. But guess what? Guess what happened over the years? It's really bad. Is in Wrath of the Lich King, they let's do it like this. So every time they change something, right? It's not chocolate. No, this is your MMO cake. This is your MMO cake. This is your MMO cake at early game. It could be any MMO. This isn't like specifically World of Warcraft, but this is your MMO cake. And it's really, really nice. It's a juicy cake, and it's got like stuff for everybody. It really has. Like, if you prefer citrus, right? If you prefer like a bit of a lemony cake, you can have like a nice citrus cake over here. Got some lemons on it, and it's got some sprinkles. It's got all this different shit. Now, the thing is, I only like cherries, but that's fine. My cake's got cherries on it. That's awesome. I don't like citrus. I don't really like lemon cake. I don't like lemon cheesecake. So, but I just don't eat that bit. I have a slice of the cake from over here. So I enjoy my piece of the cake, and it's all good. But, like, a piece of the cake I really liked a lot was, like, decently hard, needed coordination, 5-man dungeons. Right, so I loved my Burning Crusade cake. It was really, really nice. It had some dailies that I could do for casual content. It had rep grinds. It had things, achievements to unlock, and I liked all those things a lot. In fact, I loved my Burning Crusade cake so very much. I could eat most of this cake and enjoy every single bit of it. But in Wrath of the Lich King, they decided to take away the dungeons, right? They decided to make the dungeons much easier. So what they did is they removed part of the cake. Why? They removed a part of this cake. Oh no! So why are you not doing it? Do it. Do it. Make correct. There we go. They took a part of that cake away, and so the people who enjoyed that piece of the cake, they stopped eating the cake. They stopped playing the cake, which was a real bummer. So we lost those players. But the players who still stuck around, they liked what was left of the cake. They really enjoyed it. So they stayed and they enjoyed their Wrath of the Lich King cake. But in Cataclysm, they brought back some harder dungeons. The problem was the people who liked the harder dungeons, they'd already gone to eat a different cake. They'd gone. They weren't coming back. But the people that were left, they liked easier dungeons. So when they brought back harder dungeons, they lost their piece of the cake because they didn't like that cake either. So now we just had less cake. What a pisser. And then we got to Mists of Pandaria, where it was just like, if you really like daily quests, then you had a great piece of cake. But there was people who didn't like doing daily quests all day, every single fucking day. In fact, they kind of had enough of doing that. And they did want their legendary capes and legendary meta gems and things like that. But they didn't want to do dailies all day, every fucking day for every scrap of rep you could get. So they got fed up and they started to dislike their piece of the cake and decided to give up on it. So now we had those people went and got a different piece of cake and they were left with this cake. And then they decided that all content should be mandatory because they'd made it and you should enjoy it. But some people didn't like being forced into eating all the cake. Some people like to eat their piece of the cake. They didn't like that part of the cake. So the fact that you had to eat all the cake every single time really got on people's nerves and they stopped eating the cake. So those people were like, I can't eat that much cake, so I'm going to go and find a smaller cake to play. That would be a lot of fun. I'll eat that bit of cake. But the people who were left, those people who stuck around, they liked having all that mandatory content all the time. That was really fun for them. They could log in, and they could find their big piece of cake, and they could eat it every single day, and they never really even felt full. In fact, they demanded more cake, and the people who were left loved it. Now, people were starting to moan. The people who'd stopped eating the cake, they were asking, like, can we have it to be so it's not mandatory all the time, or it's pretty easy to grind out? And so they decided to change that. They also decided to mess around with the story. So the people who've been enjoying the story and didn't really care about the cherries on top, they lost their part of the cake as well. So the fact the main bulk of the cake was gone for those guys. But the people who were left didn't mind the story. They weren't particularly interested. And then they tried to change the cake. They tried to give it a different flavor to meet the demands of the people who'd stopped eating the cake. All those people have stopped eating the cake. We've only got a little piece of cake left. We've only got a few cake eaters left. So let's change the cake so it brings back the people who enjoyed, say, citrus. Let's change the cake so the citrus people will come back, right? Let's change the cake so that the citrus people come back. But the problem is the people who are still eating the cake, who stuck around to eat the cake, they don't like citrus. They liked the cherries, and the cherries are gone now, and all we've got is citrus. So those people have gone as well. And now we've just got a very, very small cake, and that seems to be what I'm seeing for the most part. Is that, there you go. We've got a little piece of cake. That's all we've got left. So we've got a little piece of cake, and there's not many people to eat it anymore. Do you like it? You see where we're going? There's not much cake left, and there's not many people left to eat it as well. It's unfortunate. But that's how I feel it's gone, and that's why that's how I feel like when they try and change stuff now to try and bring back the old cake eaters like myself. The people who have stuck around, they didn't mind the situation, and now they don't like what's changed. So there's a little piece of cake, and not many people to eat the cake, unfortunately. But they can bake a new cake. That's the important thing we need to remember. They can bake a new cake. It is entirely possible to scrap this cake and get ourselves a brand new cake. Can we go back that far? We can make the cake again. It's possible. We could bake a new cake. We can bring it all back. It's possible. It's entirely possible to throw that cake in the bin and finish a patch early and make a brand new cake. But making a new cake makes way too much time. This is going to sound like pure fanboyism, but it's an actual fact, is Square Enix was fine with making a brand new cake. They kept some of the old flavors, and they made themselves a brand new cake. And that's what they did. So, saying it takes saying I mean, we have real-world facts that's... They made a rotten cake. They made a bad cake. They made a cake that was bad, terrible, FF good, wow bad. And I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying it's possible to salvage it, and we all hope that. It's fine to produce content not everyone enjoys, but it needs to feel more optional. Exactly, yeah. When you're forcing people to stuff that cake in, it's not quite as good. Not quite as good. FF cake or WoW cake? Cakey goodness. 1.0 wasn't even cake, it was just dough. Yeah. Yeah. Well, my point being is that trying to retrofit changes on and change things is going to upset the people who stuck around because they enjoyed the way it was in the past. They enjoyed the changes. So gradually, as those people have been left behind, the people who are still there, they enjoy what's left. They're okay with it. So when you try and take that away from them, they're going to get pissed. Understandably so.